listening to the No Invite Podcast. Yeah.
Season 4. The process.
It's terrible. Anyways, you know what it is. It's episode 123. This is the No Invite Podcast. Your bitch's favorite podcast. You know what I'm saying? You can ask her. I guess. I don't know. But
no, I'm just kidding.
it is in the background and shit. Who do we got in the building? We got, you know what I'm saying? Talk to us.
It's Hot Momma. You know, you can count on me in this crazy laughter, so.
Talk that shit. Talk that shit. Okay, so we're here. No Invite Podcast. Yeah, and it's been an interesting fucking week. I don't know about you, but mine's has been real, a lot.
I want to hear about it.
It's just what I've been doing lately is just trying to get all my shit, my ducks in a row. The weather's going to start getting better. Mm-hmm. I have to start hitting this campaign on the road, as much as I can before I can't.
This campaign on the road?
Yeah.
What campaign is that?
Everything, the brand, period. We got to roll out the brand, go hit spots and pull up. And
okay.
I got a couple pop-ups already locked in. And actually, I got a pop-up event if you want to join. We're doing one that's like, for the kids, just kid-friendly, family-friendly. If you want to be down, I'm going to holler at you later about it.
Yeah, I'll respectfully decline off top. I don't like doing vendor events outside of my home. It's just too much for me. Like,
oh, yeah?
I don't have a truck, and like I got kids and stuff, and I've done it a couple times before, and it was just a super duper stressful situation.
She just shot me down straight on the podcast.
I said respectfully.
Hey, you know what? People with that respectfully should be killing me because you know what? What you did was cool, right? It was cool. I'm not judging you, but I be feeling like people be like respectfully. Just because you say respectfully don't mean you can disrespect the fuck out of somebody afterwards. Because I'm not talking about us, but I'm just saying in general.
Yeah.
Nah,
I feel that though.
That's
like,
cool. Fuck what I'm going through.
I mean, I might support you. I could do that. If it's kid friendly, I'll bring my kids. I could do cool. that. That's how I could support.
Yeah. You do that. Yeah.
Fuck off. What else you got?
So just getting that together. Got a couple events, pop-up events going. Just trying to stay busy. Trying to get as much shit done as possible. Working on a few other events that are like for adults. So, that's something that for sure you guys might want to pull up. We're going to be doing a fashion show. So we're going to be doing it. That's in the works right now. I don't really like to tell people too much shit about what's happening, what's going to happen. I usually leave that to whatever. But I have a few different things going on.
I like your fit today, actually. I like how your face is on
your
sweater. I really like that a lot.
You know what it is? You know what I'm saying? And I'm going to keep it funky with you.
That's
I'm glad
dope.
you actually asked me about that because I used to be the guy that all my videos, all my fucking photo shoots, I would be wearing somebody else's brand and clothing, right? And I would reach out and I would pay for these things. It's not like I would fucking be like, hey, give me a free hat. I'm going to wear it in my photo shoot. I used to just, out of my own pocket and just because. Mm-hmm. So, I always did that. I went out of my way to put on for people's brands and stuff like that. And then after a while, I started noticing like I don't do it because I expect something, but at the same time, it's like, when your energy is going to like
when it's reciprocated, maybe. Or
well, no, that's nice for when people reciprocate and shit like that. But when you start realizing after a while, it's like I'm putting all my energy into something when I should just be putting it into myself. I was like, because nobody's gonna put on for my shit more than me, and here I go putting on for other people's brands, and a lot of times it wouldn't even appreciate it.
Yeah.
Or isn't, so it's like at that point I started getting to the thing was like, yo, I'm only plugging my shit on my video shoots. All from that on out, all you seen was my clothes, my shit everywhere. You see it in our movies that we film and the shit that we do. Yeah, fuck all that.
Fuck all that.
Yeah, we ain't being humble this year.
Like,
we won't let our nuts hang and swing them around, and do what the fuck we gotta do.
Throwing them on the table or whatever, right?
You know what I'm saying? Now, checking how much they weigh, gonna pull up to the motherfucking scale real quick.
Oh my God, stop, don't.
Yeah, hey, Patty hates that reference. She goes, that sounds horrible. I was like, it's metaphorical nuts. We're not talking about real nuts. It's just talking about like your.
I definitely imagined a pair of nuts on like a scale, on a kitchen scale.
Well, that's because you're a fucking creep. I mean, shit. You know what I'm saying? Like we were talking earlier, it don't see it. We didn't take it that way, but
I did.
but nah. So yeah, just spreading the brand. Like because of that, like it's funny because you walked in, you got one of my shirts on, you got one of the hoodies on and stuff like that, one of the sweaters, and then I got like the other ones too, and then I'm getting to the point now. It's like fuck my brand. It's all about me now. So I put my own self on my
I
shit.
really like that though. I really like that. That's dope.
It's just a little bit of ego. That's all.
That's okay.
Nah, but you know what it is though is I came up from the era where band tees and shit, and this is from my project. This is from my album.
That's what it looks like. That's
so
nothing personal. EP.
Yeah.
Okay, just so everybody can get a visual.
Yes, get a visual. I'll post it on the Instagram. I'll let you guys get a peep. I'm definitely working on the no invite merch too. So we're gonna probably have some hoodies and some t-shirts at the very least stopping. So because as the weather picks up, like I said, and we're doing stuff like we gotta take the motherfucking show on the road. You feel me? So I might even need you to pull up for an event. Y'all might have to get a babysitter or something and pull up for an event where we do a live podcast because we have done those before as well.
Yeah.
And just so we could get out there. It's all about building partnerships and stuff like that. All the things that I'm doing is in partnership with other people so that we could have like more resources for ourselves. That's kind of what a partnership should be, mutually beneficial. So, and there's nothing wrong with like using those benefits. You dig what I'm saying? As long as you remember that, you keeping it business, real business, and not getting resources to burn people or make somebody look bad like that.
Yeah.
Part of using somebody else's resource, is a reference, and also your integrity, your word. Like if I introduce somebody to you that's gonna buy some tie-dye from you, I'm gonna make sure that I said if I know him, as much, like. To make sure that it's kind of like a cosign. Like, okay, I'll introduce you to her because I trust you. Like, you're not gonna do some smirky shit and fuck up my name.
I get that.
And be like, yo, this motherfucker got fucking, he fucks with scumbags that fucking like to steal and whatever the case might be. You do what I'm saying? So, the recommendation is everything. So me, I tell people all the time, and you can quote me on this, and anybody that's ever done business similar to mine or we've been counterparts in making business, I share the connect. Oh, you want to know where I got that done? Go over here. You know what I mean? If you like it, go fuck with them. I'm not like, oh, nah, I can't tell you, like, the little smirky shit the motherfuckers do. I don't do that because it's not mutually beneficial. I know you think that, hey, I just gave somebody an opportunity to do something, but I'm not getting nothing out of it. But you really are, though, because your reputation is currency. Your reputation is gold, too. Like, I know people that have done favors for me that anybody else, they got to put a down payment, or anybody else don't get that last minute treatment, and because of my reputation and how I come through and how I try to preserve my reputation by doing stuff like that and other things, it comes back to you. It's the reciprocation thing. You feel me? I don't do it with that intention. I do it because, hey, do your shit. But I noticed that when more I do stuff like that for people with nothing asked in return, that I see the benefits more of it, And then those people that just use, there's always going to be people that use you. You feel me? It's cool,
I feel like you're a pretty good judge of character almost, to like where you're gonna recognize if somebody's just using you, and you're not gonna keep on pouring into them if they're not. You know what I mean? Like,
no, for sure. I don't say shit, but I see everything. So I see you,
fucking
motherfucker.
big ass. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, my big ass. Did I just say I got big ass eyes and shit? That's crazy. She did call me an alien in this bitch or some shit. Anyways, no, but I see shit, and I'm not petty and stuff. But so it's not like, it's never like I said. If I did it with intention of wanting something in return, then I would probably talk shit. But I'm not like that. Like I don't care. I if I did it because I wanted to, not because I felt I had to or anybody made me to do it. I show love from a genuine place. Like I don't go around trying to burn people. I don't want nothing from anybody. Now, if we could do something together, then I'm down for the collab. I'm down for the partnership. I'm down for that 50-50 shit. I'm down for just it being fair as much as possible. But what I'm not down for is slandering, your reputation, and pouring into, like I said, that's energy I could be putting on for somebody else that'll appreciate it. You feel me? And actually do the same for somebody else. That's the kind of people I really like to pour into. It's like, yo, I don't want workers around me. I want bosses, and a part of being a boss ain't just fucking having more than the next man or being able to tell the next man what to do. Part of being a boss is to give people the information that needed and help them out. If you could put somebody in position for them to get on their own, that's boss right there. You feel me? And it's not an ego thing like I'm better than you. It's like, no, I know something. Let me help you so that you could get to where I'm at or beyond. You feel me? So I don't know how we got into this whole breakdown of this shit. Kind of started rambling on. Started turning church. I was waiting for the organs. This is about to start having church in this bitch
Praise.
right now. You know what I'm saying? I'm just saying, you sinners. Some of y'all need a little church. Shout out to Britt. She's not here right now, but she'll be here later on in the episode. She's going to come give us the ABCs of therapy. Y'all caught the last week's episode. How was that? How were you feeling about... how's your week first, and how'd you feel about last week's episode?
My week has been refreshing. I was trying to think how I could represent it, and refreshing is the word. It's been refreshing. My week. Good. Yeah, it was great. Awesome. And I feel about last week's episode.
You said something, you were a little emotional. You said. But not because of anything that was said. It was just because how you were feeling at the time.
Yeah, no, I think I definitely came in here already in a certain space. You know what I mean? That had nothing to do with anybody but my goddamn self. And sometimes you feel like
women problems.
You feel like sometimes like you're like a little bitch, right? Like all my ladies know what I'm talking about. Like, every night you feel like you're like, man, I feel like, I could just rip somebody's head off. Like, why? And you're like, I know I ain't sensitive like this. I know I ain't no little bitch. I ain't a pussy. And then all of a sudden...
You start doing pussy shit.
You start...
No, I'm just kidding.
Your pussy start doing shit.
Your pussy start doing shit. That's a fact. As pussies do, I'm told.
They do, Yeah. So, yeah. So that totally made sense all afterwards. After the fact, I'm like, ooh, I knew I ain't no little bitch. I knew I could have a conversation about things and not be too much. Like...
No, I personally, I think that was a really, really dope podcast, to be honest with you, because it's real, and then you got this whole new energy with Britt, which is dope because, obviously she knows shit that we don't. You feel me?
She sure does. She's like educated. For
yeah,
sure.
and what she's doing is like trying to understand. So when she breaks stuff down, I think that's the best kind of conversation when you have somebody that's trying to understand instead of trying to tell you how you should or what you should and anything. It's like, I'm trying to understand what's your thought process going into this and how do you feel about that? It's like, yo, I thought that was dope. And like I said, I was over here ducking and dodging and shit. I was like, making sure she didn't aim that shit at me. I'm like, yo,
using his shield. And they were reflecting back onto me, and I was just taking it.
She was like, absorbing this shit, bleeding at the same time. Like,
No, really though, I am an open book, and that's why I enjoy being here. Is because I really do love talking about myself and my experiences in my life and whatever the fuck, you know what I mean. So it's good. It's Gucci. It's all in good
fun, and it's all in. I think being honest. Like, you don't got to tell everybody your business to be honest. You feel me? And sometimes part of being honest is actually the same thing, understanding that. So sometimes it's needed. Sometimes you gotta put it out there, and then other times it's just like, it's for me to know.
Sure, yeah, because not all the time do I do a lot of talking. Like, sometimes I'm just kind of like more just the laughing aspect of this or the bullshit or whatever. But so it's nice to have Britt here and it be a different dynamic, and it was really cool. It was nice.
Just tell me to get out the way without telling me to get out the way. It's cool, you know what I mean? Basically it was y'all, you know what I mean? I should have just did what I kept doing.
Yeah, well, she's all yours, okay, for the ABCs next.
Okay, great, thanks.
Let's see how much ducking and dodging you can actually do.
I'll get on my
when I ain't there to absorb it,
Get on my motherfucking Muhammad Ali shit, you know what I'm saying? You're going to see me dance around a lot of shit tomorrow. Dance around all my pain. You're going to see me dance around all my trauma tomorrow.
God damn it.
Nah. Well, shout out to Britt. Shout out to Ann, the best kept secret. She's almost back from saving the world, too. Like I said, she's been recruited by Patty and the rest of the Avengers. So put some motherfucking respect on the best kept secret's name. Shout out to you. And yeah, the week has been the week. So I'm glad. I know I asked about the podcast because honestly, I really felt like it was probably one of the best podcasts we had in a while. Because the best shit is really just honest. We talk about all the fuckery and we crack jokes and we give our opinion on topics and things like that. But like the best podcast we always have is when we start talking about just some real shit, some shit that we're passionate about, some shit that we could totally either relate to because we're going through it or we've been through it. And
the authenticity, I feel like, is what makes a really good podcast. Like, if you're just reading off a script or talking about bullshit that you just pulled off the air or whatever, you know what I mean? Like
how we were before we got on the podcast. Go ahead.
You don't gotta tell him that.
Authenticity, y'all.
Authenticity. Here we are. You know what I mean? Rocking it. You don't got your list in your hand. Don't worry. But I don't know. I feel like I've been telling everybody too. Like episode 122. You know, like it's 2 hours, but it's worth every fucking minute.
The second hour is fire. The first hour is dope too. But the second hour is when we really started fucking kicking ass,
dig
bro.
it in there.
You know what I mean? And it's because what's it called? I'm not even gonna tell you how we came in with just a whole new brand new energy like that. We're just gonna let y'all guess, you know. Let's just say that we do whatever we need to do to bring y'all a complete podcast. You feel me?
By any means.
By any means necessary.
Yeah.
Once again, ask your bitch. She knows. You know what I'm saying?
You know, that shows how do you call it? That Britt really cares about this, you know, and that like that's really
I don't think that you I want to say most people I can't without a doubt say 100%, but I like to think that most people that take on that profession, all the studying and all the stuff, at least at some point has that type of empathy and wants to help, genuinely help, and cares. You dig what I'm saying? And just like anything else, as you move along in life, maybe some shit reinforces that. Maybe some shit gets you jaded to it, whatever. You know, everybody has different experiences, but I feel like that why she's doing it initially, obviously, is to try to help people, you know, and more than anything, more than like trying to get a check or whatever. I'm sure that she'll be able to do whatever she needs to do in that arena, but I think it comes from a genuine place. So that's kind of like why also I just don't invite anybody. Oh, put me on your podcast. I'm like, for what? For what? What are you trying to talk about? You know what I mean? What's your energy like? You got to have that cool energy. You feel me? You got to be and it's different. Like we just talking about sitting down, you know, like, but you know, the interviews is a whole different deal. But like, as far as these kind of podcasts, we gotta definitely be on the same page about shit. We don't gotta agree on everything but you know, it's just certain things. It's a trust thing. It's a trust circle right here. The trust circle.
Can I do a trustful? I got you.
Hell no, I don't trust nobody like that. I'm sorry. That's where the circle ends right here. Yeah, that's where
like
there's a little
that.
exit. Yeah, I don't trust nobody. You carry me. Hold on, let me see how much.
Probably wouldn't fucking be able to carry you anyways.
I was gonna say, let me see how much
you
you bench press first before I do that. It's not that I feel like you would purposely drop me. I just feel like I don't think you could carry me and shit. Now I hit the ground anyways. Like hell no, I don't trust that shit. Now we on a trampoline.
No, you're right. You're right. I don't even know how much I could bench press. I don't know. I haven't never tried.
You got me. You good.
I don't know. I mean, you're not that heavy.
I mean,
my legs are so strong. I probably carry you. You know.
No you had a kid. I'm sure you could do anything in this motherfucker. Y'all,
bitch.
You know what I'm saying?
Let me tell you.
You had two of them. Shit.
You gotta have a different respect. I'm telling you, for women who's.
I'm kind of fascinated by that right now because I'm, you know, currently, you know, it's like, I was like, yo, this is all new territory and water and shit for me because I didn't get to fully experience it.
You know, you mentioned like before that you didn't get a chance to experience like the kid and like the labor with your son. But what about when his mom was pregnant? Did you get to like be there during that time?
Not all of it. Like I was there like early, like maybe the first 4 months, 5 months, and then I was gone for like 8 months.
On your vacation.
And then I came back and he was almost a year. And then we had his first birthday. And then shortly after that, I was incarcerated for 2 years.
Yeah, I feel like the whole pregnancy process is one thing, right? Like you're going to be able to experience that now and that's hella beautiful. But it's that day that your girl gives like birth to your guys' beautiful baby that's gonna be like you're gonna see her in a whole ass different light. Like
I heard I'm a hater more like after that. Like is that
who
true?
said that? A man?
Yeah,
man
probably
said
a man
that.
said that. Yeah.
Really?
I mean, I'm assuming
this motherfucker. Oh
either that or it's just, you know what I mean? It's just That was the devil.
I fucking hate guys.
No, I'm talking shit. I'm like, just remember, I was like, this baby's gonna come out looking exactly like me. So it's like, anytime that you fucking got any kind of venom or anything like that towards me, just know you got it to your baby too.
Yeah, no, that part's beautiful for sure. I think
I'm just talking shit.
No, I think I know, but it's so beautiful. It's so beautiful. I'm so happy.
No, it is.
For you.
It's a moment, and now I could say that I'm gonna be able to experience that whole moment, which I didn't before. And I'm gonna look at her like, yo, you a soldier, like, damn, like, you a trooper, all that. But yeah, so I see shit differently, when it comes to that. The week has been good. I'm glad your week was good. I'm glad the podcast has been good. For all those people out there, allow me to talk my shit for a minute. There's no Patty here to stop me. So the podcast is doing great. We're moving and grooving. Everything is beautiful out there. I appreciate everyone that takes the time to listen to it. Please always check in with the podcast account at no_invite_podcast, because we actually had people when I started posting up, and I'm gonna do it more. And I don't run the page, but I recommend stuff. So we gotta holla at Tony. She's the moderator. Shout out to producer Tony. People wanted to hear about polyamorous relationships. And although that's not what you live in, you know what I mean? I think it was dope that you guys kind of addressed and talked about it a little bit. Just, just referencing it and the differences and stuff like that. So I kind of dug that. So I appreciate everybody that was actually answering the polls. I'm gonna put another one up there. Keep hitting us with questions because they want to know. I'm sure, and also this is more your lane when it comes to podcasting. So make sure that everybody look you up everywhere at the Love Fix. That's with 3 X's. Triple X.
You see, my problem, remember how I was having problems, is because Instagram won't let you put 3 X's in a row.
Because it's triple X.
Because it's like, so what we did was it's the Love Fix period XX. Yeah. So it's just spelled just like you would think.
Cool, perfect. I'm glad that you know it now. Yeah. Everybody should follow that definitely and check out the podcast. This is more, I'm going to keep it funky with you, her range. Although we talk about anything on this podcast, but basically you guys emphasize relationships, dating, and of all types. So that for anybody looking at that. But also, like I said, I want to thank everybody that's been checking in. If you guys want to talk about more stuff, we're going to have my friend Bundy back from Dope Flavors. Real cool cat, real knowledgeable individual. And he got some shit that like when you talk and conversate with all different kinds of people, you kind of get to see where they're at in their state of mind. You feel me? So it's dope to see that he's on his entrepreneur, branding and the whole thing, doing this shit. So it's always good to get his perspective on issues that affect all of us. Yeah. You dig what I'm saying? Yeah. So shout out to him.
He has a really good perspective. I really like listening to the episodes with him too.
Yeah, he's dope. So it's good to have him on. It's good, friend to the podcast. So just wanted to take that time out real quick before we jump into these topics. I want to thank everybody. Keep downloading, all you stalkers that keep downloading only certain episodes. Keep stalking. You know what I mean? If y'all need to, I could have Hot Momma like slip into her Hot Momma voice for y'all and just totally degrade y'all. But we're gonna charge y'all. It's kind of like OnlyFans, but it's audio OnlyFans. So I'm gonna just have her say real fucked up shit to you, and y'all can pay. Shit. Yeah, you fucking piece of shit. You know what I'm saying? Something like that. You know what I mean? So, I don't know. You put your sauce on it. We'll market it and we'll brand it. We'll make some money. It's just honest, wholesome,
collaborating,
wholesome, simple fun. You feel me?
Wholesome.
A partnership.
It's always wholesome.
Yeah. That's like, remember I told you I was like, and people might steal my idea. I don't give a fuck. Back in the day, it's like, bro, sometimes like I was like, it'd be dope. I told you already. It'd be dope to get a GPS, but to have one that's like for those people that like to be berated and belittled and shit. Have one with a stupid ass attitude, like
turn here, you stupid ass bitch.
Yeah, exactly. Hey, you fucking idiot! This is a stop sign right here. Like some shit to where people like that. Some people like abuse. I don't judge. I'm just saying. I'm just here to provide a service. I'm not. It's nothing personal. You dig?
You're so funny. It's nothing personal.
It's nothing personal. That's all. But so we're gonna keep it moving. I know that you've seen. Well, you probably didn't because we obviously
because you didn't send the link.
Yeah, that too. I'm notorious for seeing shit. Be like, I gotta send that when I could literally just send it right then and there. But So I guess they just released some fucking new report saying that alien mother ship. So not like a fucking little, a little fucking.
What's a mothership
A
though?
mothership means it's a big ship capable of carrying other smaller ships, and it's like the head of. And they said it was an interstellar device, interstellar object. So the way it was traveling, it wasn't traveling naturally like something that would travel, but at the same time they couldn't really tell what it was. But they're saying now that it's possible that they passed by our solar system and not only passed by it, but let out sensors or probes to check us out. And of course, I know you've been seeing the news and all these, reports of UFOs and shit like that popping out. So I want to ask you two things. First of all, do you believe that we're alone in this great big universe? We'll start off with that. I had to get into my motherfucking conspiracy fucking voice. You dig? This is what I'm talking like.
No, I'm
don't
just
tell
kidding.
nobody type shit. Go ahead.
Okay, so do I believe we are not alone?
Or are we alone?
Are we alone?
Is it only humans or not?
I really don't think so, honestly. I think that there really has to be more to it. Like, what if you're an alien? Are you an alien?
I'm not an alien.
I feel like that's what an alien would say.
I have my papers and shit. My whole I was born here, so the disrespect.
Well, no.
Well.
Okay, anywho, sorry. Derogatory terms. Here we go.
Yeah. Here we go. Disrespect people without disrespect. Oh no, actually, that's just straight up disrespect. But so what do you think though? Like, do you think that we're alone?
No, I think that there's aliens that walk among us already.
You think so?
I think so.
Like how like they look like us and shit, or
yeah, I think that they're pretending to look like us. But have you ever met somebody that doesn't have a belly button?
No, I haven't. Have you?
Kind of.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
Who the fuck? I don't even want to know. I don't want to know because then he gonna be like, now. So that, like, check this out. First and foremost,
the less you know.
Yeah, exactly. This is one of those things. We were talking about communication when we were saying that, something like that. It's like sometimes I don't want to tell you, like, you don't need to know some shit. I'm trying to help you. It's not because I'm lying. It's because I'm trying to spare you from knowing too much. Some shit you just don't need to know. I'm trying to preserve your peace of mind. You feel me?
Or what about people who have like supernatural powers that like.
Well, you read that book.
You
read that book, so that book kind of put a lot of shit in perspective for me. How all this stuff is possible, and I don't doubt it. There's a lot of people that will refer to a thing called Project Bluebeam, where they were talking about using like a mass crisis to unite everyone and kind of get them to fall in line or whatever. You have to look it up for it, but it's basically what they were trying to do is they were going to basically use it with aliens, like an alien threat. We must unite the world for whatever so much reasons, and it's
against the aliens,
and it's using like holographic images and stuff like that to fake it or whatever. So a lot of people talk about that, they reference that, and they're like, they don't believe aliens are real because of that. Me, I just think that first of all, do you believe the earth is round or flat?
Are you serious?
I'm just asking you because how this conversation goes from here, it all depends on how you look at shit.
I want to say flat just to fuck with you.
I don't care. Whatever. It's the preference. Whatever you believe in, that's what you believe in.
No, I think that the earth is round. I've been on an airplane before. I feel like I've been up top. I mean, not all the way where I could see, but I mean, I don't know. I feel like it's pretty round.
I think it's round too. I just don't get how the sun is a round disc and the moon is a round disc, but if it's flat how are we seeing it flat then when we see it like isn't there a top or bottom to that? If something's flat, there's only a top and a bottom, right? Like, you dig what I'm saying? So
you're saying that like if we were to hold an orange up right now, we would be able to see that it ain't flat, that it's round.
Well, if Earth is flat, right? That what I'm looking at it is more like the rest of the universe has to be built similarly. Maybe not exactly, but especially the planets around us. So if we're flat, why does everything appear as a sphere? Why is the sun a sphere? Why is the fucking moon a sphere? You feel me? Mm-hmm. Why wouldn't it be flat too? Like Earth supposedly is. That's my logic, at least. I don't know if that makes sense, but I don't care. No, the reason why I was asking is because some people believe that the Earth is flat and all this shit is fake, and we never been to space and all this other crazy shit. So it's just like I gotta make sure you gotta know your audience, gotta know your crowd.
I'm like, I've been in this room how many times?
Oh my gosh, nah, you don't even know. Like, people will get. It's because see, this is the problem, and I'm starting to notice it now. Having too much information is a problem, because in a sense that having too much wrong information is a problem. You know what I'm saying?
So I was doing a little bit of questioning to myself, like, what is education? Like, or what is the purpose of education? And to me, I feel like educating is, because you have a whole bunch of. So the question was, why is educating now like really important, more than ever? And I feel like because there's so much motherfucking information out there that if you were just to give a person all of this information and tell them, okay, here you go, like, they're gonna probably go crazy with all the information. But if you were to teach them, right, or educate them in a way, then I feel like it would be more. It would be better for them.
Well, it'd just be better overall for them to deal with it, because when you have too much information, especially because like you could go down a whole rabbit hole on the internet and just pure negativity, and the more that you search up negative shit, the more that the algorithm will give it to you, because that's how it works, right? It gives you what it thinks you want. So. And at the same time, you could also be like, oh, nothing's wrong, everything's perfect, nothing. You just be totally blind to what's going on around you. So my thing is that like being educated helps people clear through that madness and be able to make a better opinion about shit instead of running. Because like you could tell who a lot of the uneducated folks, I'm sorry, but y'all motherfuckers run to with everything. Any little fucking YouTube video you hear, you see, you run to the internet, and now you're a fucking expert, and now you're telling people that how they're living is wrong, and this, that, and the other, and you're doing a lot of judgment and shit like that. You're doing a lot of fear mongering too. Like you're trying, and at the same time, like we talked about last week, I'm not for that, nor am I for the, oh, let's call it something else to spare feelings. No, this is what the fuck it is. You know what I mean? This is what it is. And we need to be able to address things for what they are and not try to spare somebody's feelings and try to call it something else. Because if that's the case, everything eventually, from observing, everything eventually becomes okay. It used to not be shit, and certain cuss words was like, oh, you can't say that. Now it's not a problem. And as time goes on by, they're gonna lose all their value, I feel like, to where people are even gonna give a fuck about that no more. You see how they're doing TV already in kid shows. They're like, so at the end of the day, the way I look at it is just like, being educated helps you to avoid being swept up in that shit. And if you're not educated, at least be observant and try to be impartial about how you see things. Don't just do some research. If you could get on your Instagram or your fucking Facebook and look up or your YouTube and look up all these crazy fucking videos, you could also go to your this is the wild part. It's like, I believe there's a lot of things that they talk about as being conspiracies that are actually fact. And I feel like there's even more things that they talk about being conspiracies that are just total bullshit. Because I feel like in the age of information, where anything you could pretty much want to access as far as knowledge of how things are made, done, and whatever, that's the only way that anybody trying to keep true power from somebody has. That's their only weapon, is misinformation. And like I told you, the same thing with, like, if we're talking about control over people, to keep them, down, keep them, fucking, in a perpetual cycle of doing self-harm and other things, right? What you do is you kind of like, in order to do that, you kind of create that environment by that. You do what I'm saying? By what's it called? But by making by creating that environment, like culturally, as far as that, and also like by making the things that are really the fundamentals of life and how you should live, good character, being educated, being thoughtful. You don't have to be a thug. You don't have to be a criminal. You don't have to be a villain to be a strong person and an individual, a man, or whatever the case might be. And you know, a lot, you know, it's a person's self-worth basically. So, you know, they cheapen that. They make that look corny. You know, since it's out there and anybody at any time could access information, the way that they keep people from actually truly utilizing it is by making it look dumb, making it look corny, cheapening it, and somehow attacking its credibility, magnifying the mistakes or the you know, and not the actual overall you know, process or the overall results. So, you know, shit like that. You know, it's like I said, it's the age of misinformation. So watch out. They're right behind you. They see what you're doing on that questionable website.
You know, I learned that in some countries, porn websites are banned.
Yeah, no, definitely. A lot of countries.
No idea.
A lot of countries. You go. Somebody was talking about they went to Jamaica recently. I know somebody that went to Jamaica recently, and I asked him about it, and he didn't know. But apparently, out there, they're not allowed to air any kind of shows with violence or with any kind of murdering and stuff like that. Like, yeah, Jamaica doesn't, like, you go there, you'll see movies, you'll see like the comedy movies and stuff. But if it's like heavily violent or promotes like, or not promotes, but displays gang culture and mafia culture and, you know, anti-establishment culture, stuff like that, they don't play it.
Do you think that's like a thing, or do you think that's like?
I don't think it's a good thing because history is told by the whoever's in power at that moment. You dig? So by having these stories told, and even if some of them are complete exaggerations or fake, if you was to shut that down, you're also shutting down the ones that are credible, that are accurate, that are really depict and detail history as close as they could get it, you know, closest to whatever the official story is. So it's also just, like I said, one more thing of using tap dancing around the issue and using something to create a narrative that we're helping. Like, the issue ain't the violence and all the shit we see. Maybe, yeah, it is a lot, and maybe it should be only, you know, it should come with a warning, like the real psychological effects of whatever it is, watching too much violence and whatever. If it's not already out, which I'm sure it is, maybe that's something that's probably why it'll never happen, that these entities that control all this, you know, shit, they're gonna have to find a way to pay people. You know, because you create a product that you could probably be, if it's true and proven to be so, then you know, and I don't think that'll ever happen, because the thing about the country we live in, it's a free country to do as you want. It's placed in the whole, you have a choice. You know, you don't have to watch this shit, and it's true. You don't have to watch this. You know, you don't have to be on Instagram. You don't have to do these things. So if you choose to use Instagram is highly addictive, and they finding out that it's true, and you end up using it. Just like fucking over-the-counter meds, they'll be like, okay, as long as you know what the fucking, you know the risk.
It's your choice.
Yeah, and after that, it's whatever. I think this government stopped making decisions on morality like that a long time ago for people. I think they kind of were like, yo, if you want to fuck your own life up, go ahead, you're free to. You do what I'm saying? As long as you're not like committing illegal shit, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah, no,
think
definitely.
about it. All the pharmaceuticals that they let people have with all the side effects and all the shit to be killing people. Like, even now we were talking about how California is banning certain foods because they carry chemicals that are known to break down your DNA and also cause cancer. These are chemicals that are created in foods that we eat, that are created in, like, where they make gas also and shit like that.
Wild.
So a lot of people don't know that, and I know it's like, we're like, oh, you know, you were saying, oh, well, I might just need these things.
I'm like, those are toxins that I don't want to give up or something, but that's kind of like, whew.
But you want to know the thing, 9 times out of 10, that they could create these products exactly how they are,
but without
that shit, and they don't. They do it because it's like cutting. Like when you cut something to make more money, like, oh, I got this liquid fucking detergent.
I'm like, where are you going?
Let's say I got a whole bag of this liquid detergent. I'm trying to stretch it because, you know, stretching it means more money. And see, what's crazy is, yeah, y'all probably thinking something negative, but this is actually the street model is actually designed from the actual industrial model and how to do business. So that's just how business was birthed out here and how it was done out here. So I mean, call it what you want, whatever you think I'm selling or whatever you think that I was referring to, because I'm a square, so you know what I mean. But what I'm saying is though, like that's how business is though now. So I don't even know.
Motherfuckers.
Yeah, get your hand out of my pocket. But so I mean, it's definitely it's slippery
we kind of
slope.
strayed though because we were talking about aliens.
We were, but
you had a second question too.
I did have a second question. Okay,
So curious.
So look, this is the thing. Aliens come to you, right? They out here. They're like, what's happening? We living, right? Check this out. The planet gone, finito. We about to move. We about to move to Mars. The only thing is,
this fucking guy.
if you guys want to come to Mars, one of y'all got to marry one of these aliens. Either you or your husband, who's marrying the alien, to save y'all family.
I probably would off top.
You take one for the team.
Yeah, I've always wanted a fucking alien, so I mean, why not?
That's hella funny. I forgot what the second question was.
I
forgot what the second question was.
Really?
We just gonna keep it all the way funky. Yeah, we done went off into hella tangents about all kinds of shit. Your boy went on a rant. You're supposed to. Where's Patty at? She's supposed to stop me when I get like this. Yeah.
I mean, the little tangent side talk was fine.
It was pretty deep though. It was some real shit.
Because it really does come back to that though. You know what I mean? With like, just how. Like that censoring, just like it was talked about last week, it all circles back around. And then like with it just being like, it is what one of the things that I did with my brother on the bonus episode was this little fun thing he wanted to do to get to know the other person, right? So on Instagram, if you go into your search, like just the bar, but like where it shows all the videos or reels or whatever, he was like, let's switch phones when we go to that area, and then we can see what like the algorithm will produce.
Yeah, based on where you're located. Yeah.
And it was really funny to switch phones with him for him to see like the things that popped up for me to look at and the things that popped up for him to look at. And it was like, oh, okay, like some of it's kind of true. Like I guess that's kind of stuff that I would look at on my phone and things like that. And I don't know. It's crazy how these phones.
And he probably changed your algorithm depending on whether or not he was viewing something for a certain amount of time, because then what he might have looked at might not have caught your eye, but then it caught his eye. So then the algorithm was like, oh, I got to give him more of this. She likes this. She likes this. You know what I'm saying? It's going to get to the point where the phones are so smart, they're going to be able to look at you and be like, yo, put the fucking phone down.
They're going to be like, this again, you dumb bitch.
They're judging you. It's judging you with that creepy little eye staring at you.
Already.
You know what I mean? So look, we're going to take a quick break. Knowing About Podcast, episode 123, season 4. This is a motherfucking process, and we moving. All right, we're back. Quick little break. Had to go. That's the best way. Had to go. Y'all can put it together however you want.
Replenish our drinks. Had to go replenish our drinks.
Shit like that. So we're back, Knowing About Podcast. I appreciate it once again. These lately, these episodes have been, I'm not going to say, how can you say it's like they've been unpredictable, I guess the best way I can say it. It hasn't been, we've aimed already, but we had to do a little bit of adjusting, How does that part of the podcast been going for you, making adjustments on the fly and learning shit? Because I heard you over there battling with some technical difficulties here and there.
Yeah, it's all a learning process, and I'm really grateful for the mistakes that I make, so that way I can learn from them. Right, and also like being able to just like fiddle around with it, so that
it's a lot sometimes, huh?
Yeah, it is definitely. I don't know. I'm gonna have to do some more learning and stuff. And I really appreciate you showing me a couple of little buttons beforehand and stuff, because definitely would have saved me a little bit of time earlier. But that's okay. You learn everything when you're supposed to. So
well, just know that you guys are in the stage where you guys still trying to get your routine, and that goes as far in a lot of different ways. You got to get your recording routine, or however, make your adjustments as needed. You got to do your post-production and your editing routine, and then your uploading routine, and all these things that once you get used, you've done so many, you have your system in place that because right now you're developing your system as you go along, like how you're doing it, right? So once you hit your stride and everything is cool, you're gonna notice a big difference. It'll ease up. It'll be a little easier. Hopefully those tips that I showed you as far as like templates and different things like that helps, because if you could help shave like 30 minutes off your podcasting recording / podcast experience, it helps.
Yeah.
Because a lot of times it's the setting shit up and troubleshooting this and that, so, little small things help. But yeah, I mean, it's funny because I ask you, and when you tell me these things, because I remember going through all that too. So it's like in a weird way, it's like, yo, I'm reliving this shit, because I remember I was like, yeah, I remember this point. I was like, yeah, and see, once again, it ain't about like ego or nothing, or I'm not trying to I'm trying to empower you. So I could not tell you shit and be like, yeah, figure it out. I did, but fuck all that. Yeah. I'll show you, and hopefully you take what fits you best and then run with it.
And use it, yeah.
Use it, and then along your journey, you're gonna learn more. You're gonna Google. You're gonna fucking YouTube. You're gonna whatever it is to make that. At the end of the day, the key should be to make it as a easy user experience as possible when you're doing it. So that you could focus less on having to do all that, and more on the conversation, more on the presentation, like, oh, yo, this episode's dope, we finna drop it like this, or whatever the case might be.
Now that I got a Instagram page too for it, I have to start figuring out like what kind of content am I gonna post, and get into like a rhythm of that as well too. So it adds like a different aspect to it.
Well, like I said, Buzzsprout lets you make clips. That's how I do my audio clips. So you could go onto the Buzzsprout page. It says create audio soundbite, and then from there you just follow the instructions, and you could create clips from the podcast that you like. So you could kind of start setting the tone. People could hear how you guys sound. Maybe it's a funny moment or whatever. And most importantly, I would say whatever content you post, just that it reflects kind of like your podcasting style or whatever, like what you guys' views and what y'all into and shit, because I mean, at the end of the day, the more content you post, obviously, is better for your growth and engagement and stuff, because that's what you want. And in return, hopefully that translates over to your guys' podcasts and streams and downloads and whatnot. So, just small shit. Little light shit.
I really like being able to learn along the way. I think I never take myself too seriously, but like especially right now, just because I don't want to be like, oh damn, it needs to sound this way or that way, or it needs to sound like somebody who's been doing a podcast for the past year or two or whatever. Yeah. But no, why do I need to do that? Like, I really like being able to make these small errors along the way, so that way I can learn from them right now when it's still, episode 5, 6, these early episodes. And that way I can really get it down pat.
Yeah. Well, it's a part of it's growth, so you feel these new situations and these new lessons and stuff like that. And that's the most important thing, is to embrace it. I think a lot of people don't embrace those hardships or those learning moments to make themselves better. The society is everything is, instant gratification. So the average person that doesn't understand that will be turned off by doing that, because you're like, oh, I got to do this. I got to do that. Oh, I got to do this. It's like, yeah, it's like, the beautiful thing about having a podcast is you have the freedom to make mistakes, and you have the freedom to watch and let people see your journey and your growth. You feel what I mean? And then by the time, if they really fuck with you and they really rock with you, a year down the line, 2 years, they notice the difference. Totally. 2 years, they notice your growth and how you handle shit. And then by that time, like I said, you'll be kicking ass. You'll have your whole routine. It'll just be an overall easier experience for you to do, and it won't be so much the technical as it is just lining shit up for it to make sense for you. But it's dope. You gotta go through this shit. This the grind. This when people say, oh, I paid my dues. This is what they mean. It's like you sat here through the ups and downs, and you had to learn. You took time out of your day. You could have been taking a nap and smoking weed or something, but you took time out of your day to do something that you
have been though with these fucking children now.
I mean, well, that's the thing. A year or two now, you're gonna be a different podcaster too, because it's gonna be a little bit more. It might be a little easier. You'll be able to sit them down, both of them now, and then you ain't gotta, or they could go.
I think the hardest part is trying to find a babysitter while I record, because of my record time right now. It doesn't align with my husband's time, and so it's like
you gotta get
that's been a little bit tough. I'm like, well, who's going to watch my kids for an hour while I go, and do this? that's been interesting.
Yeah, and you remember they're growing. So as the year 2 goes by, it'll be a different situation, and that's just part of life. Like the thing about these podcasts that we do, and just like anything else, a motherfucker that likes to race cars or whatever the case might be, priority is always going to come first.
Yeah.
And then this is like passion.
Yeah.
And so this is different. That we do this not for, what's it called? Instant gratification. We do this because we like the process and we like the outcome. You feel me?
The process.
The process. Once again, and that's why I wanted to ask you, and that's why I'll be asking you. Kind of the part of the theme is that knowing that you were gonna be on your own journey with this podcast and shit, and Ann already discussed with me that she's getting ready to do the same. So because of that, part of that process and shit. So it's like we talk about it and let people know, because the most anything, y'all, we trying to inspire people. Like we talk that shit and we talk heavy about us, and we say we let our proverbial nuts hang, but that's because I feel like that you should. As much as somebody's humble and they're working hard and they're a good person, you should take time out to acknowledge what you're doing. You should take time out to big up yourself and appreciate the fact that what you're doing. You're 10 steps ahead of the person that wants to but never has tried.
Yes.
Even if you don't feel like you're far off or where you want to be, or you're fully polished yet, you're definitely at least 10 steps ahead of the person that wants to do what you're doing but ain't tried, and for whatever reason, like people talk themselves out of shit for a lot of shit. So the most important thing is this dope, and then that's where I like to reciprocate at, and that's where I like to pour into people that are not wasting my time. Like, don't get me wrong, I'll try to help anybody. But like, if I'm gonna take my time out to show you these things, it's dope that you're actually going and applying them and doing these things, not just doing it and then not doing anything with it.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. That makes a big ass difference.
All right, Hot Momma, what's the shout outs?
For my tie-dye, because I want you guys to look at my art. It's all on Instagram. Totally period tie-dyed period designs. And then the Love Fix at the Love Fix period XX on Instagram as well.
That's right. There you go. That's how you can find her. You can find the podcast. Everybody that's been listening and tuning in, like I said, read the description before you check the podcast, because it might not be everybody's thing. But it's definitely something that's needed out there, and her and her brother are making it happen. So I mean, let's keep it funky. You know what I'm saying? Some people ain't
for a second, I was lost.
That.
I'm like, read this description. Are you talking about your
podcast? And then, your podcast.
Yeah. Read the description.
Even if it's your first time, you kind of know what you're getting already when you know what I mean.
I think the latest episode is like called like shout out to the fuck boys or something.
Like I said, no, and then it goes back to like our audience is vast. Our audience, because me and you are different people, but we could like the same podcast.
Totally.
You know what I mean? And we could also not like the same podcast. So it's like, for people that listen to this one, some people probably won't like it. But some people are like, yo, this is my shit too, because I've learned, I've been put on to other dope podcasts by listening to podcasts, like to where they're like my favorite shit, and I listen to them all the time. So if it's read the description, and if it's something you think that's good for you, then y'all go ahead. But don't blame me if you get your ears blown out on some shit and you're just like, wow, I can't believe I'm listening to this shit. So with that being said, look, I got to do this more often because I don't, and I feel like I should be leaning into the brand more as far as that. But my clothing line, everybody go follow RiBirth Clothing Co. That's RiBirth Clothing Co. If we had a camera right now, we are head to toe in this bitch, damn near both of us.
I'm pretty kind of like impressed with us, actually.
Yeah,
like, this is pretty dope.
I'm not even gonna lie. Like we did the gender reveal, kept it kind of small because you know what I mean. I'm not used to this. When my kid was being born, there wasn't doing gender reveals, right? So whatever. So we kind of kept it like low key, not too many people, but a lot of people that showed up had the brand on, and it wasn't all just like my close, like it's obviously her friends and my family and stuff like that. But so I was just like, yo, that's kind of dope. So I want to see the same kind of energy. I got a pop-up event. It's called the hold on, let me get my shit real quick. And somebody's outside fucking blowing up fireworks. Good looking out, motherfuckers. So I got a pop-up event happening March 26th. I want to make sure that anybody that feels like it or wants to pull up, can, make sure you go to RiBirth Clothing Co. on Instagram, and I'll post up the flyer right there. It's in Hayward. It's going down Bay Area. All the people out there representing. If you can make it out there, come fuck with me. You know, for San Quinn, they're going to have a cypher. They're going to have performances. They're also going to have a lot of different events, all kinds of vendors and stuff like that. I'm going to keep it fun with you. This might be like teenagers and up type event. You know, I'm sure you could bring your kids because we're not doing no out of pocket shit. But you know what I mean. At the same time, it's like, is there going to be stuff your kids are going to enjoy? So I'm gonna keep it funky with you. If you're a young adult, or even if you're an old adult, if you're a super adult, this is gonna be it. It's gonna be food, music, culture. I'm gonna be up there. I'm gonna have my booth. I'm gonna have all kinds of different styles and flavors. I might do some exclusive one-on-ones specifically for that event. Who knows? We might even do the raffle out there and start raffling out there. Who the fuck knows? I'm gonna try to keep it all posted because we'll do the live raffle and in person. So whoever got their tickets here at the event. But I'm gonna try to do a couple free giveaways and some other things for it to keep it interesting because I want people to come out and fuck with me. But most importantly, just come fuck with the booth and come fuck with the brand. So yeah, follow my shit. The link in the description got the link to our 2-hour line, what we have in stock. But I also have a lot of shit that's IG, Instagram exclusive. I do a lot of one-on-one and custom different types of sweaters and stuff like that. So you could actually purchase one. No invite merch is coming real soon. We'll talk about that as it happens. All right, it's official. Enough of the priming already. We done got warmed up. We done did our warm-ups and our stretches right now. This is episode 123. We're here moving in like we did before. Y'all caught earlier, you know, shout out to Hot Momma. She'll be back. By the power of editing, I'm going to make all this shit sound like it was done in one take. Yes, I do that too. But we got Britt in the building. How we doing today?
I am good. How are you doing?
I'm great. How you feeling? How you feeling fresh off of a podcast? Now you're going back to back. That might be an occasion. You know how you get a little award from your Apple Watch and shit? You know what I'm saying? You might have to get you a little award for the back to back. That's a first, I think.
Yes, it is. I'm excited. You know, I always enjoy these conversations, you know. It's always Hot Momma, you're missed.
Yes, Patty, wherever you are. And you know, we got the rotating staff, so it's cool because there's always somebody here. The lights always stay on, you know what I mean?
Right.
But how do you feel about the episode? How do you feel about just coming back and continuing to do a new segment with us?
Well, I appreciate it. And I think it's cool, you know, it's kind of giving me different ideas for whenever my podcast gets up and going. Mm-hmm. And it's just exciting. I don't know. It's I feel like I learn something new every time. Yeah. And I feel like just having the different conversations, meeting different people, and I don't know, like this is just a cool little thing we got going on.
And it's like once you get in your comfort zone, then I think that you know what I've been pushing for since I met you. You already know. Yeah. So I keep saying it, but I think once you get in your comfort zone and you start just doing this more often, you start realizing it's like you know, I told you already, you're natural at it. And it's not, you know, it's just about getting it done after that. You know, it's just about doing it. And, you know, sometimes you just got to, you know what I mean, jump out the car, even if it ain't fully stopped yet, you know, and run a little bit, you know. Oh, sorry, I'm having
like a light jog.
Yeah, I'm having a little flashback. Sorry, you know, your boy used to run from police and shit and all that. So, but anyways, yeah, it's good. I'm glad to have you back. I think last week's episode was dope. Mm-hmm. A lot of people gave a lot of good feedback on it. So, I already kind of knew that when we were done, when we were done recording. You know how when you finish something, you just look back at it, you're like, yeah, you know, this might be it. So that's kind of one of those moments. Shit. We about to run it back again with the ABCs of therapy, right?
Yes.
So, since we're doing that, give them kind of an explanation of what it is that you came up with and that I'm over here, you know what I'm saying, trying to help you with too.
So last week we did accountability, and then today is going to be behavior. Mm-hmm. And
we're doing the ABC format.
The ABC format. So we're going to go over a different topic every week. Up. Yeah, every time. Well, yeah, maybe not every week because things happen clearly. Yeah. But we're going to go in that order.
Well, shit. Well, we're gonna set it in motion. We're gonna see what happens. That's basically how this works. The beautiful thing about a podcast is that it's not a broadcast or anything else like that. So we're not perfect by any means. You might hear my phone ringing in the background. You might hear someone dying, choking from weed and shit. But at the end of the day, that's kind of like what makes them so cool. I think what makes people want to listen to them because they get to feel like they're a part of the conversation, even if they're not there, they don't know us. But that's also a problem because that, when somebody feels like they know you and they don't know you, they could also get punched like that. You feel me? So, you know what I'm saying? That's usually, how it goes. So everybody, as long as there's respect, it's always gonna be good, and shout out to all the listeners that are hella cool,
It's funny you say that because, like, you do feel like you're part of the conversation because there's times I'll listen to podcasts and I'll talk back to the podcast even though I know they can't hear. Like, I'm like, well, no, this is what I think. And I don't know if you've ever had that experience.
Yes, most definitely, because it feels like you're in the conversation. So that's something that's different, I think, than TV and even like talk shows, because even talk shows, they're not talking with you really. They're talking at you.
Right.
And like even with podcasts is like, most of them don't really address the listener too much. They speak to the listener, but, really this is more like we're talking about stuff and they're just listening in on it. They get to hear, be a fly on the wall in these conversations. And I'm so glad that you guys don't catch a lot of what happens in between the motherfucking, between recordings, because sometimes we're out of pocket. I was telling you, I do little clips at the end, little what do you call it? A little compilation for the end of the year wrap up and shit. And it's just sometimes I'll be like, y'all can't use this shit. And then I'll be playing it. Feels like, y'all gotta, when I say give me levels, talk to me about some other shit. Don't be talking crazy, And it ain't like nothing bad or anything like illegal. It's just, being a little too real for a podcast. A little too personal. I tell people all the time, it's cool to come on here and say how you feel, but don't get too personal. Just like social media, don't get too personal. Come in here with an open mind. Conversate and keep it light. Because I don't know, I'm old school. It's like we could disagree, but don't start yelling. Don't start and don't start waving your hands, because then that's a problem. You know what I mean? So
yeah.
So
I have to credit this idea for the ABCs because it brought me back, and as I was thinking about it, the idea, so I had a girl in my group supervision and she used to bring a different letter, but it was for, we would bring our cases. And so I don't know. I feel like I have to give her credit because
Shout
it kind of,
yeah. Shout her out then.
Champagne, that's her name. So if you hear this, you know what I mean?
That's right. I like that though.
Yeah, I can't.
That's being real. That's being real.
Like it just came to my head how it sounded. So like I was like, oh yeah, I gotta give credit where it's due.
For sure. And this is just something that came off the top of the head. We've been trying to get you to do a segment, but we didn't really have like a clear idea of what that was going to be, or how we were going to run it. So once we kind of figured that out, because at the end of the day, this is hopefully all in attempts to help people.
Right. Yeah. Hopefully.
Well, yeah. I mean, learning about stuff and how to identify things, and especially within yourself, like behaviors. Right?
Like behaviors. Yes.
So that could help a lot of people in a lot of different things. So today's word is
behaviors.
All right, so go ahead and give me a breakdown of what the difference is between a behavior and like just being an asshole or something.
So behavior is kind of categorized as something that's that is identified over time. Mm-hmm. So, how is your, like, what patterns do you have? What behavioral patterns do you have? How do you respond to people? How do you interact with people? What do you do in certain circumstances? Mm-hmm. And that kind of brings up to like your personality traits. Like what does that, personality traits kind of encompasses what your behaviors are and how you'll interact in situations. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah. So like, for instance, how you react when it comes to a disagreement, or how you react towards when you have something in common with somebody, and you're like, yeah, fuck yeah, I love the fucking Niners and all that shit. So
right.
Okay, break it down. Hit me with it then.
So hold on, let me bring this up.
You gonna hit us with the definition?
I am.
That's fire.
I
like that. I like that. That's important.
Exact.
That's very important when it comes to stuff like this.
Mm-hmm. So if you were to look at a character trait, that's what we were talking about. It's individual parts of your personality and behaviors that express who you are as a person. These aspects of your personality can tell a hiring manager how you work with others and handle tasks.
Yeah. When I was, I think when I was like in 2012, I had enrolled in community college and shit to learn some classes, learn some shit. And we had this class where the teacher was like, you guys are all going to be in teams, but you guys are going to hire your teams. It's going to be like you hire each other, you feel me? And you're going to, everyone's going to take this survey, and it was like a survey of what your strengths and your weaknesses are and your personality and character traits, you know, and stuff like that. Where like they ask you a bunch of questions, and then they've kind of like categorized what kind of worker you are, or what you know, what kind of team member you are, whatever.
Or where your best fit is in the assessment.
Somebody's more outgoing and is a good speaker. Maybe they're better off in that, as opposed to somebody who's more attention to detail and organized, and maybe more of an introvert. So they're like better off in the behind the scenes doing certain things and stuff like that, and all that stuff. So.
Well, that's where you come up with, like, you know, I don't remember if you did this in high school or at any point where
Probably not.
Well, when you didn't take a test or anything or an assessment that says you would be best in this field, or you would be
No. Out here?
best. Yeah.
No.
No?
I didn't take, not out here, nah.
Okay, so there's an assessment. I want to say it's called the chat assessment.
But then again, also, full discretion, you know, I was a fucking bad kid, and I was probably out raising hell more than in school than anything. I got expelled like the first month of my sophomore year, so
Man.
didn't go back. And then
That's okay.
No, I know. I'm at peace with it. It's just, you know what I mean. It's just like, it's just I didn't get the high school experience. Put that way. I didn't do the prom. I didn't do fucking.
Oh dang!
I didn't do none of that shit.
Dang. So. That's a once in a lifetime.
It is.
Yeah.
Fuck what I'm going through.
But cool. Okay, so they all have. Well, you know what I'm saying. I got you.
No, that's good.
What were you going through?
What do you mean?
Like.
Oh, see, look, I was telling my son, I was like, look, it's funny how the world works, right? And I said it on the show. I was just being bad, yo. My mom was cool. I think I was just making bad decisions, probably just wanted attention, you know, typical kid shit. But it's different when, you know, there's all your area, you know, has a lot to do with it. I'm not to blame that solely on that, because it's obviously decisions. But at that time, I was getting in trouble, you know, just being bad, you know, just being a bad teenager, you know, I guess for out here. So yeah, that's it. Really, just being bad. I got expelled for weed, and I never got escaped this. Well, I got expelled for weed. I got caught for 5 bags of Bammer. Yes, Bammer, y'all. It's terrible. And I got incarcerated. I went to juvenile hall, and then after that point, it's like I was not off of probation or parole damn near until I was like 30 or something like that. Until my early 30s, yeah. So you know what I mean? That's why I was like, y'all, the weed people, y'all owe me some money, y'all, because you know what I'm saying? And the thing is, I'm a juvenile, so I couldn't even really claim that. Probably if I wanted to, you know, because that was so long ago. And she's like, y'all motherfuckers owe me money now, because I got expelled. I didn't get no treatment. I didn't get nothing. They didn't none of that. They're like, just go to jail and be on probation. You feel me? Go to, you know. So I'm like, fuck that. I was like, y'all, if weed's legal now, I was like, I need some motherfucking restitution.
I think about that, you know, all the time. Like
I need something. You know what I mean? Some equity in something. But yeah, it's weird, right?
Yeah.
I was telling people when it first happened and weed first became legal, I was like, watch. I was like, you're not gonna notice it, but slowly it's gonna be more and more acceptable. It's like right now, at first it was still a stigma. I used to do something called smoking weed in public, and I just film myself smoking weed like in front of Target or something, and people would look at me crazy and just be shaking their head and upset, right? Now it's like on billboards. It's everywhere you could think of. It's all over the shows and movies now.
Because it influences behavior. When you see that stuff pushed, it's more acceptable. People begin to adapt to what is socially acceptable. You know, if you think about it, back in like the 50s, 60s, you know, they were showing more and more skin. Behaviors changed as things were pushed down to be more socially. We get desensitized. Yeah. So then we start accepting things. And then now, like I was just talking about this, like you could just smoke anywhere. Like nobody bought, like police, like it doesn't even matter. Like it's crazy to me.
Yeah, it's a new world shit. I mean, but let's keep it real. Weed is like I'm sure it's not. It has its cons definitely, and it has its pros as well. And if you're gonna drink, I would say probably you'd better be smoking than drinking. To be honest with you, drinking is a whole different thing, and that's you know, I'm not saying that has its pros and cons either. Drinking is drinking. You know, it's cool to have fun, but if you can't handle it, then it's a fucking problem. You know. So
but that's the thing, it's not opposite. Even think about it though, right? Like alcohol is even pushed so much. Like everywhere you turn, it's alcohol.
Yeah, and it's a norm. It's a
yes,
norm.
to
it's
be
coffee.
like drunk. Like it's I don't know. It's what we see, we adapt and we figure out and we evolve, and then you know people don't make such a big deal about it anymore.
Yeah. And it's like I like to think, and I'd hope that we're just evolving as people enough to not to realize what the real problem is, and it's not so much alcohol as it is, you know, the person or behaviors. Like you're saying, I might be wrong. I'm just guessing here, but you know, and really like even you being here and just the whole. I think maybe 5 years where people have really been stressing the whole mental health thing more. It's become like, I'm gonna say it's become mainstream. It's always been there, obviously, but it's being more accepted socially. You know, people are understanding that, you know, it's all right. They might need somebody to talk to, and it's just it's a different world we're living in now. I kind of trip out. I was just saying it to I think I was saying to Top Mama, I was like, yo, they're talking about aliens in the news. Talking about the government is acknowledging aliens. What the fuck is going on? I'm like, what the fuck else is next? They're trying to bring back woolly mammoths and put them they're cloning them and putting them in the fucking Antarctic. I'm like, yo, this shit is crazy. I was like, it's the future is now, put it that way. And it's nothing like how they said before. You know what I mean?
I thought we were going to be having flying cars and stuff. Yeah. This was not what, when like growing up, this is not what you thought.
Man, I thought we were going to have flying cars instead. We got TikTok.
Right. Oh, I don't even have that, but that's a whole nother beast in itself.
It's the thing. It's like when something could be used against you, then it's bad. You know, you can't give people that power. And unfortunately, we're living in an age where we're moving more towards that, and everything else physically is starting to disappear. I was driving with my son. We were talking about it, and he was like, "What are they?" I was like, "What do you think about this mall?" You know, because they have the Antioch Mall and shit.
How is that mall still surviving?
I have no idea.
Like,
there's so many memes.
Like...
You ever see the memes from that mall? They're like, yo, if the Antioch Mall can still make it, so can you. Keep your head up.
No, no, bro, but for real.
Oh God, I'll be driving by there sometimes. I'll be like, yo, I was like, what are they doing in there? Like, and it's
how?
But it's just really just because, to be honest with you, that's like a part of Antioch where they look at it like low income now. You know, so and I've noticed that anywhere where it's considered low income, all the malls are gone from there.
Yeah.
You know, if you know, all the malls are really gone from those areas. You go to Oakland and in certain places, and even in the Mission, they used to have more like shops and stuff. Now it's like, I mean, they still got their shit, obviously, but it's different now. It's more gentrified. You know, it's more,
that's what they're doing everywhere.
I mean, and so you know, the people that live in that area, they consider them that they probably get less priority than everybody, so they don't give a fuck. They'll probably turn that shit into a. I was telling my son, I was like, yo, if I had the money, I would turn it into some kind of manufacturing plant or something for people to have jobs. You feel me? Like, that's what I would do. Like even if it was like Amazon, I don't know how people feel about Amazon, but if they were to open a distribution center there and hire only local people, I'm like, yo, that would make traffic a lot better. Yeah. That would help the economy there. And people, you know,
more employment.
Easy for them to get there, easier way to get to this. So people that probably would have a harder time getting a job with Amazon, having to drive and take, you know, probably an Uber or a bus and BART, whatever the case might be. I mean, we'd have that, but
I mean, social influence our behavior and how we do things.
Well, back to what I was telling you, it's like I was a bad kid. My mom was good, you know. I just was. I'm gonna say I was mischievous, and I felt like I wanted to belong. You know what I mean? I had that need to fit in. You know, and not fit into like what somebody else wanted me. Yeah, accepted, but not for nobody else but myself. You do what I'm saying? So, But yeah, I mean, at the same time, I probably would have had a different set of issues depending on where we were living at. It just so happens that where I lived at, a lot of bullshit was in arm's reach. You know, down the street and around the corner, it was always something going on to, and I had access to it. So, you know, I learned a long time ago, you can't really blame yourself. I mean, you can't blame other people. You have to learn how to accept blame for the shit that you done. You know what I mean? But most importantly, instead of dwelling on it and shit, like you gotta like get past it to the point where you accept it as a lesson, you know, and as something that had to happen in order.
And that changes your behavior because
Mm-hmm.
you know behavior isn't what is it like infinite? Like that's not just behavior changes over time. We all change over time. How we respond changes over time.
Definitely.
You know, looking at, you know, character traits is, I think, any given situation and how you respond. Like, are you a loyal person? Is that a trait that you have? So that's more of a character trait. Are you an honest person? You know, coming down to a situation where you have the choice to be dishonest.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Who are you when no one is watching?
Exactly. And, you know, like we said earlier, you know, you have to look at yourself and really ask yourself, you know, why am I feeling this way? Or like, why am I responding this way? It's introspective work, right? Looking in the mirror and saying, okay, something is not right.
Like you need to cut that shit out or whatever it is. You got to tell yourself and try.
And it's not easy. That's why we have so much, you know, toxic interactions, I think, with people is because we don't know how to identify within ourselves flaws. It's easier, and that's what we were saying outside. It's easier to see what somebody else is doing and what they have going wrong and give them advice because it's not you, you know? So
then it's harder. It's a lot harder to look in within yourself and actually try to understand, and not only understand, but do something about what you're doing, or try to understand why you're doing it. And then try to fix that or make an attempt or work at it. You know, I know some shit ain't gonna just be overnight. You know, it takes what does it take? They say, how long does it take to break a bad habit and how long does it take to build a new one? I think it's harder to build a new one than it is to break one or something like that.
Yeah.
I forgot. It's something like that. Don't quote me. Y'all gonna have to Google that shit.
Yeah, I don't know.
But yeah, it's your behavior and how you choose to react to things is very important. We're talking about how we were saying outside with with just people in general, you know, stalkers and all kinds of shit. It's like how do you choose to react is important. But yeah, behaviors. What else have you coming along and interacting with people? Have you noticed that helps people like try to change those behaviors?
I think like going through situational patterns, if you keep experiencing the same things over and over again and you're still kind of dealing with the same things, there's no growth or elevation there. And two, you have to start asking yourself, well, how am I ending up in these same circumstances? How am I ending up in these same, you know, depressive feelings or anxious feelings, or
trying to find out what's triggering.
Yeah, like what's triggering. And, you know, I think you have to make a choice to say, okay, I have to look within, you know, and looking within means not blaming anybody else. And I think that is really hard.
It's funny how this topic really relates to last week's topic because part of that is accountability. Yeah, because to address and correct behaviors, I guess you got to really be accountable, right? You got to be accountable, and you got to be able to tell yourself you're wrong. Like I like to keep people that are not, and even sometimes to a point where it frustrates me. But the people I keep around me are not going to tell me what I want to hear. They're not gonna tell me what I want to hear. They're not. They're gonna be like, or that's not it, or you know what, bro, you're wrong, or you know what, you got a booger in your nose, or you got, you know, you walk around looking crazy or something. Like they're gonna speak to me. They're not gonna try to spare my feelings. Now, of course, they're not gonna say it disrespectful, like we said before. Yeah. There is a way to say things and get your point across without having to hurt somebody's feelings.
Yes.
I've been trying to get Ann to understand that, but you know, Ann is all about brutal honesty. But you know, it's like I feel like. Once again, it's like how you deal with people it's on a case by case basis. You can't just have one way of dealing with everyone. You know, you can have your standards. I feel like you know, and the things that you are going to accept and not tolerate. But at the end of the day, it ain't no one template for dealing with everyone.
No, not at all. But that's also influencing your behavior, though. You know, when you're in a situation, like if you're addressing your partner or whoever, you know what I'm saying? Like how you respond to her is not going to be how you respond to a family member, or you know how you interact or bring up situations or your behavior with them. Everybody kind of has their own category for interaction and how you behave with them. And there's some people who can bring out negative behaviors, you know, dealing with maybe a jealous partner that can bring out a negative behavior on both sides.
Yeah.
So, and they may respond in a insecure way or whatever the case is, and their behavior is going to...
It's funny you say that. So my previous relationship was super toxic, and it was a lot of insecurity and a lot of insecurity. So one of the things that, as we were just talking about right now, like one of the things that I would deal with a lot was stuff like that. You know, like for instance, going into the relationship, I wasn't like I didn't, you know, I wasn't petty. I wasn't like the type to go back and forth to have big arguments. But as you with somebody and you deal with it and you keep going, it's like you start, like you said, you start picking up traits too that, you know, because like it got to the point where we couldn't even address issues without somebody getting overly sensitive about it. So it was pettiness after a while, like just being petty, doing shit to piss each other off. And, you know, so it was stupid. And it's like, yo, I'm not even like this. Like, what am I doing? Like, this is not who I am. But it's like dealing with this person for so long, it
changes your behavior.
It changes my behavior, and it made me do things because it's like I've tried talking to you, tried reasoning with you, I tried pleading with you. And it's just like now seems like the only way I could even get you to even react or even think about anything is for me to fucking, you know, do some petty shit, you know? So it's like, I when you say that, I was like, yo, I get that, because I was like, yo, that's just not me. And then after
that's not
the
a
separation,
trait of yours.
it's like a detox, bro. It's like, shit is not cool, you know?
So in, you know, you don't have to answer this, but I'm moving into a new relationship. Was it difficult to kind of unlearn those habits that you picked up, or how you responded, or how you interacted with your partner?
It wasn't hard, but it was something I had to be conscious of and aware of. You know what I'm saying? Like I had to make sure that I don't like go, you know, but it's like every person, like I said, once again, case by case. So it's like every person is different. Like I can't come into anything new trying to treat the next person like the last person.
Right. But a lot of people do that.
That's baggage. They carry it with them, right? They carry it with them. They because of whatever happened to them. It's like, first, if you have trust issues, then you got to work on yourself first. You know, if not, and you're gonna be with somebody, I would prefer that you just tell me that you're like that so that I cannot fuck with you. Give them a choice. You know, and let them decide if they want to put up with that shit or not while you work your situation out. But at the end of the day, it's like, yo, everybody, nope, can't do it. I gotta make sure that I gotta be realistic. You know, I can't want something different trying to do the same shit.
Yeah.
You know?
But so how many times did you ever, because, you know, everybody's different. I think women put up with a lot more. In some cases, well, I don't know.
It's all case by case with that.
Yeah, because I don't know. Because I've seen
some
men.
some friends of mine or people that I know that very, 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 very toxic relationship. You know.
Yeah,
so,
but that goes from insecure attachments, and that goes to, you know, childhood traumas that people don't know they even have, and you know that trauma influenced how they behave in circumstances.
I believe that.
And so I think that a lot of times relationships and people stay too long, like have standards, but when we have abandonment issues or we have codependency issues, then it makes it hard to sever that emotional attachment, because it's like, oh, I'm loved, I'm attached, I feel I may not feel safe, but I know I have someone there, you know, and I hope that if you are in that situation that you get out of it.
Definitely.
You know,
Yeah.
because
Nobody, you should never have to put up with that shit, period. Like,
But you know, but that influences how we interact with people. You know, our past experiences are
yeah.
really good indicators. You know, or can be good indicators of future
Yeah,
patterns.
and you know, I'm far from perfect when it comes to my parenting and everything, but I did my best to try to shield my son from shit like that, you know, and just, you know, let him be a child and not have to worry and deal with the, you know, the arguments in his face and all that shit. And then it wasn't always successful, and a lot of the times it wasn't my choice. But then I was you know, I could have walked away, and I didn't. So you know what I mean. A lot of times, you know, when you're dealing with somebody that's toxic and stuff like that, you just, you gotta get fed up, yo, and be like, I'm gonna accept this and fucking be happy because I'm here and I'm dealing with this shit. So and I'm gonna stop complaining. I'm gonna put up with this shit and deal with it. Or if you're really not that happy and you really, you know, it's that bad, then you gotta. You know, you gotta address it. You gotta fix it because I'm not the type of person that's gonna stay with somebody for the sake of anything. You know, I'm gonna stay because it's that the feeling is there and it's genuine. Because if not, then it's like, you know, I think it'll manifest somewhere else. It's like, you know what I mean, and it'll be an issue. Like if you're there out of convenience, or if you're there out for any other reason than because you want to be with that person and you want to be in a relationship with them, then yeah, you know, it's you know, it's already an issue, you know, to begin with. But it's tough. It's tough. You gotta be fed up. Excuse me. You gotta get fed up, and you gotta make decisions, hard decisions. And that's another reason why I feel like people stay in relationships too long, or or make excuses why they're still in the relationship, is because they're not ready to look into themselves either, though, and figure out what they need to get right for themselves and fix.
Well, some people live in that, and they live in that drama, and they live in that chaos.
They thrive in it, yeah.
Yeah, you know, and just
I am not one of those people.
No, you know, and no judgment. You know, people go through what they go through. You know, I think again, social norms. We just get desensitized, and it's kind of pushed. You know, this narrative.
It's definitely, well, on a bigger scale. I look at it like, you know, what's your household like first? And then you could have a mom and dad household and still be a fucked up household. So it's not really so much that, because I know people that have had single parents and raised their mom, only raised them their whole life, and they're well adjusted and doing just fine. And so it's really, I feel like a combination of a lot of things, you know, when it comes to that environment. Home raising is one of them for sure. Because even me, like, being how I started off getting into trouble was minor shit, you know? Had I been living in a different fucking area, who knows what kind of trouble I might have got myself into. It could have been worse. It could have been light. It could have just been a little speed bump, and I, you know, graduate on time and the whole shit. Like, who the fuck knows? Like, but environment does have a lot to do with it, and sometimes people forget that, and they just figure like, hey, you're gonna get your ass up, you know, do this. It's like, yo. You don't know what people are going through sometimes.
No,
and you don't know what's going on in their house. That's what's so delusional, I think, about Instagram and Facebook and anybody that's basing their happiness on what they see on there, because, or what they don't have, or what they need, or what they feel they need and stuff like that. It's like, it's not real. They're not showing you all the behind the scenes shit. You know, they're not showing you all the pain, all the suffering and sacrifice that they had to go through to go that, because you don't get there just by somebody throwing it in your lap.
Right. Well, people that's like that, they want that instant gratification, and they think that that's what it is, you know, goes into a fantasy land. Yeah. And, you know, you don't know behind, you know, I always see these grand engagements, and I always hear women say, you know, oh my gosh, that would be so amazing. And I'm like, you know, they're really setting the bar for some, like, it's nothing simple anymore. So then if that doesn't happen, then it's, you don't love me enough, and that person could be miserable, and you have no idea. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? So
and that, to be honest with you, it's because, like you said, what society deems as normal now, we get desensitized, right? It's like, yo, it's not cool to be a bridezilla at any time.
No.
You know what I mean? You know, it's not like they made it a show, they made it a movie and all this other shit, right? So it's like, I don't like the fact that like I'm down for marriage and everything, but I don't like the fact when somebody is doing it more for the look than it is.
Yes.
They want it more for the look than it is the actual meaning of it. Because that, to me, if we're gonna do all that, it got to really mean that.
Absolutely.
You know, it can't just be like, oh, we're doing this for the show. Even though I have been divorced before, so
Me too.
So, well, maybe we'll talk about that some other time. I don't know how I don't know if we want to go down that road.
That's another story. That is an offline conversation.
But yeah, I might just bring it to the podcast one day. You feel me? It's actually pretty funny too. I've kind of said some stuff about. I've mentioned little pieces of it here and there on the podcast just to relate to things. But it got to mean something. Yeah. At this point in my life, everything got to mean something. Every move got to count. Mm-hmm. I don't step at nothing or to nothing without intention. Because at the end of the day, it's like if I'm not gonna do it, if I don't see me following through, why am I doing it at all? I'm wasting my fucking time.
Yeah.
So when I do things, now do I fall short? Hell yeah. Mm-hmm. I'm not perfect, and sometimes life happens. That's what I say all the time. Life happens and shit pops up, and it's not perfect. But the difference is that my consistency and what and my follow through on the things that I need to be doing and the things that I aspire to be doing is to me what counts the most for me. That's what keeps my momentum going is my damn self.
Yeah, no.
I stumble into something, and the next thing you know, I keep stumbling until I stumble into some other shit. You feel me? But I don't know. Try not to let you inside my mind.
Yeah.
So, because it's too. We don't have enough podcasts for that.
Yeah.
I don't have enough hours now. Because we're just talking about behaviors. Like I want to know more, but it's like.
Well, I mean, just think about how you are in social situations. How are you behaving in a library compared to a bar? And that's why I keep kind of bringing up the social norms, because we kind of conform to what society has in how we respond. Our behaviors evolve over time, and we become more socially acceptable, which is where a lot of acceptance and the need for acceptance, especially with social media, comes into play, because there's this desire for connection. There's this desire for acceptance. So, what we see is how we behave and how we think it's okay to behave.
That's another thing I tell people. I tell my son, I was like, just because you see somebody else doing it doesn't mean it's okay. Mm-hmm. That like sometimes people will see shit, they get the wrong example, the wrong idea from somebody totally not even about that at all, and they'll run with it. That's why I was like, always on this podcast, I'm always telling people, look, take this shit with a grain of salt, do your own research, and don't just dive off the deep end.
Right.
Every little thing you hear, there's always two sides to the story. Sometimes you're only getting what people want you to see. Yeah. And that's dangerous, because at any time anyone could be a victim of like some kind of slander or some kind of attack, you feel me? Because they are able to spin something, whatever the case might be. Like, how people be like, I got nude videos of this person, and they don't really be them, but they're, you see it all the time, like with these Hollywood types and shit, blackmail, and then you don't really hear about it until later on. And it's like, yo, this shit's crazy. It's like,
yeah, no, it's wild.
That's why that's like I said, I think I could do without that type of life, Yeah. I just want to have money. I just want to be able to slap people that I don't like with it. That's it. Is that wrong? That's a bad behavior, huh?
That is. Why would you want to do it?
Just for self gratification, I guess. I just want to slap somebody. So, you know what I mean? You didn't believe in me. Psh, God did. You feel me? And just keep it moving. And they can have the money too.
They can have the money.
Yeah,
little philanthropy work going.
Exactly. You feel me? There's nothing that's done without, Yeah. It's all, you know what I mean, yin and yang. If I'm gonna do something bad, I'm gonna pour something good on top of it. You know what I mean? Keep going. You can't just keep doing. Well, you could always do. There's never not doing enough good. But we're all bad and good people at some point or another, and we gotta just. I always feel like I gotta put out more good than bad at all times.
Yeah.
And I Like you said, I do a lot of introspective thinking, maybe because I'm fucking old now, or just because I've had a lot of time and instances where I had to do that for my own personal like peace, you know, so I could fucking, you know, make it. And because of that, like, you know, I analyze shit. Like, I don't know if you were here when we were talking about it's like when I go out places with people, how they get in trouble, how I get in trouble is two different things.
Oh yeah, no, we were,
so
yeah.
just stuff like that, little stuff. I try to do the best that I can to do that, to analyze my situation. Do I always work? No, it doesn't always work. Sometimes I let myself trying to help people, you know, cloud my vision, you know, because I'm also, that's another thing about me, is like I always see the good in people, so I'm always trying to help somebody. So I'm always, somebody's hurt, I'm trying to help them. Now to a certain degree also, I understand and I know I can't help everybody, and I understand and I know that I have to pick and choose who I help as well, you know, for whatever reasons. My help for somebody else might kill them, you know, like, you know, like, because I'll tell you a story. I feel bad sometimes. I used to be kind of mean to my uncle. He was an alcoholic, but this was when we were younger. And I used to tell him, like, man, chill out with the drinking and stop drinking and don't do this. Like, I used to get on him sometimes and shit like that. And he would try for me to not drink, but then he would start getting sick. And then when I finally put two and two together, I felt terrible because it was like, you know, me, I'm in my mind, I'm trying to help him, you know. But at the same time, I understand that that's not the help he needs. He didn't need me trying to like, you know, get on him like, leave the alcohol alone. Come on, let's go, you know, let's go do this and start doing that. I start, you know, so after that, I never did that again. But that was like, just like an encounter, like I'm talking about that, where I was just like, yo, I know that the help that I could give you is probably not the help that I want to give you is probably not the help you need right now.
Right.
And that was just a different instance. But I felt bad. Like I didn't know that at the time that he was that point to where he got sick. So I was just like, yeah, I felt terrible. Like, you know, I was always telling him, like, I put that shit down. Like, you know, because in my mind, like, I was trying to help him. You know what I mean? I was trying to be like, you know, I want my uncle to be healthy and live, you know, as long as he can and shit. So, but yeah, that was one thing, you know what I mean? Like, I can't help everybody, and I know that. And that's something that I learned over time is you got to let some people, you just got to let them swim. Let them do what they do. And other people, if you can, do it, and do it because it feels right, not because you want something in return.
Right. Well, I wonder how much pressure you would take off of your shoulders if you didn't say, well, I'm just seeing the good. Because we see the good and the bad. We just choose what we want to see. So I wonder how much, you know, how many issues or problems could be alleviated if we just took value for value. So I see you for what you are. And you know, why do we put these rose, you know, colored glasses on and think that, well, this is going to be an exemption, right?
Yeah. I think because, honestly, we do that because at times that's what we want, you know, to people to see the good in us, even in when we're at our baddest. But also, like, I think, like, shit, it's like, I think now, and this is something that I've learned over time, obviously, because that's how I was too when I was trying to help people. It's like, I think now I observe everything in its entirety, the person, the good, the bad, all that. And even though I see the good in you, because that's my nature, I want to see the good, I do see all the other shit. So then, depending on what I see and what red flags are there, is going to depend on how I'm going to deal with you, because I'm going to have to put you in a category. You know what I'm saying? And that's for my own well-being and my peace of mind, because I can't let a klepto in my house and be like, hey, bro, I'm going to help you out. You can watch my dogs while I'm at work. No, that's not going to help nothing. Yeah. That's not going to help me, especially, and I'm enabling this person. You know what I mean? So
yeah,
I when I deal with people, and even now, like, same thing when I shoot people opportunities, like when I seen you, we talked and you told me what you were trying to do and how I could tell that you were excited about it and that you were dead set that it's going to happen. So I like that. Right away, I'm like, I know that you're somebody that I could pour into and reciprocate. And I know you'll reciprocate, but that's not what I do it for.
Right.
But I know that you're somebody that, even if you don't reciprocate to me, that you're somebody that if I show you something, eventually you're going to use it to help somebody else and maybe show them the same shit. And that's what I like. That's what I mean. Because it's like, I don't want to pour into people that end up being like who I don't want to be. And that's like a gatekeeping ass motherfucker was like, nah, I'm not gonna help you. Help yourself. You know, get up. Nah. If I can help you, like I said, case by case. If I can, I will. But I want to only help people that I know are going to do the same in return. They're going to pay it forward. You dig what I'm saying? They're gonna, to the next person, they're going to pass that on, and they're not going to turn into a monster and be like, oh, fuck you and fuck everybody. It's all, you know what I mean? So it's kind of what. It's kind of the what I envision for this, and that's kind of what I try to do. I do it with intention. I do it with good intention. Like like I want to help you, and hopefully, if it pays back to me, it don't got to be directly to me. It's just to me the satisfaction knowing that you got up and got to where you were going, and that you possibly helped a couple people along the way. You know what I mean? To me, that's the payment right there. And I don't even do it for that, like I said. But I'm also picky. I can't just help every motherfucker.
Well, I mean, time is an investment. Yeah. Time is the ultimate investment if you really think about it.
Can't get it back.
You can't.
You can't save it.
Right. So I think about that often.
It's one and done. That's it. Every day.
And I think that people don't realize that, when you take the time to invest in someone, there's like certain things, there's certain boundaries.
You got to value your time.
Yeah, you really do. You have to establish. And I think that boundaries, that would have been a good one too. We should have did boundaries.
Well, kick it. It's B day.
It's a B day.
Shout out to all my Crips. It's nothing personal. It's just,
just establishing boundaries with people. I think that's something that's where our standards stem from. That's
Facts.
where our worth stem from. That's where so much of who we are really stems from, right? What we let slide, what we,
People will treat you how you allow them to treat you.
I say that all the time.
I tell my son that all the time, too.
Like, you got to say something. If you don't like something, and I think, we're
going to put an end to this right here. You know what I mean? Hold on. Before we go any further, you know what I'm saying? Fuck that. No, keep going, though. I wasn't talking about you. I'm just saying in general, if somebody out of pocket, we're going to put a stop to that right now. Hold on. We're going to stop everything. Check this out. You got me fucked up. We're not doing that.
Right.
You got to correct people sometimes. And
you absolutely do. It's always presentation and stuff, but you know what I'm saying? Those interactions, and it really influences the entire dynamic of any interpersonal relationship that you have. So if you're not setting boundaries, and that's also stemming from childhood trauma, attachment, and, but not having healthy boundaries, it can cost you even your life. Like we talked about, just craziness,
Yeah. I mean, how people are like, people say, oh, you're out of pocket or don't be out of pocket. That's kind of what it means. It's like when you cross some boundaries, you're out of pocket, and there's different ways of people saying it, but that's basically what it means. And I always feel like how we said before, it's just being direct.
Yes.
I think especially when we're doing something, we got to be direct. I don't like tap dancing around stuff. Just tell me what it is and what it ain't. And what's it called? Let's be direct and let's see if it works. And if it don't work, then hey, at least no one feels like they got swindled. We set it out all on the table. Like this is how it's gonna go down, and this is what we're gonna do if it don't work, and this is what we're gonna do if it works. But
even in relationships, you have people who, I'm staring at your location for hours. Like that's a boundary. Like I feel like that's not healthy at all.
You know what's crazy is that's how my last relationship was.
That's too. Not okay. Like because then that disturbs peace all in every dynamic in every way. Who has time for that? Now you're sitting there anxious. So that watching your location influences a certain.
I can't live like that, bro.
No,
honestly, if I have to worry about you that much every time you step or anytime you turn around or anything, then I just rather have I choose peace every time. I'm gonna let it go. And like I said before, when I was in that relationship, it was a lot of insecurity, and then it was the one where she wanted me to have her, like, you know what I mean, like I need you to know that everything. I was like, but I was never really pushing it like that. It was one of those things where she felt good if I was like hella like that. Like, she felt loved if I was like that, and that wasn't who I was. So it was just like an issue constantly. It's like, I'm not tripping. If you say you're at where you're at, cool. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I check in, of course, let me know you're okay. Or I'll check in, text you, whatever, but I don't need your location.
Yeah.
I don't need to fucking drive by where you're at or be some weirdo or none of that shit. Like I said, if I feel like we're to the point now where I'm worried about where you're going, then it's probably over.
Yeah.
At this point.
But then people stay long overdue, and then they let those boundaries slide because you got to a point that you weren't even recognizable to yourself, you know? And that's from loose boundaries. That's not from establishing no. Like there are consequences to what you do. I don't care who you are, there are consequences to what you do.
For sure.
And so whether it's good or bad, it doesn't have to always be a bad thing, you know, but to every action there's equal Newton's law, you know.
Yeah, off top.
You know, there's equal or opposite reaction. So I think it's important to remember that, you know.
Remember boundaries.
It's going to
your
on either
behaviors.
end. Yes.
Yeah.
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 yeah. Talk that shit. I'm getting you hyped up right now. Hold on. But shit, boundaries is definitely something that a lot of people need to learn. A lot of people don't know how to
and each person has different boundaries. Your parents have different boundaries.
Oh yeah, for sure.
And
once again, it's a case by case. What's cool with some person is not cool with somebody else, and you know, you just gotta know, you know, like you gotta respect people. I've been telling, I needed 6 feet way before the pandemic. You know what I mean? Give me space. You know, don't like, you know, it's very much a learning thing. You know, and as we're younger, if we don't really get these things broken down to us and how we behave sometimes when they're like, you know, when you're young, you don't know, you're like, something's fucking wrong with me. Like, what's wrong with me? You're just like, cause you're dealing with so much hormones and everything, and you know, anxiety.
Well, you don't realize that your childhood is different than everybody else's until we have similarities, like, you know, they have those funny memes and stuff. Yeah. But when it comes to like each living dynamic, everybody lived differently. And you're like, oh, you didn't, like, you hear people all the time, oh, you, like, Thanksgiving is a big one. Oh, you don't eat this dish on this Thanksgiving. That's where you start finding out that people do things differently. And you start realizing, well, wait a minute, what happened? This wasn't okay. Because sometimes we don't know as kids. Yeah. That's all we know. We think right. It's okay, and we think that's what it is. Yeah,
for sure.
Even how you react and how you interact with your kids, I'm sure. Like, I'm sure you probably did a lot of things that your parents did.
Yes.
You know, so it's passed down also. Yeah. So, you know.
No, that's a fact. And I've had to unlearn a lot of shit. I had to unlearn a lot, and I'm still trying to unlearn shit. It's a, you know, I tell my son all the times, like, look, man, I'm honest with him, you know, about, you know, and if I'm out of pocket, I'll be the first to tell him, like, you know what I'm saying, I made a mistake or whatever. But it's like, it's very difficult to unlearn shit that you've been wired to since a kid, you know. And like I told you, you know, when I decided, I had enough. I'm not fucking gonna keep doing this cycle of getting locked up and shit. You know, I had to really look into myself and really, like I said, really understand why and how what I'm doing is affecting everyone, and why am I doing this? You know, I ask myself, why am I doing this? Why do I keep doing this stupid shit? Or why, you know, like I had to unlearn a lot of shit, and you know, I'm still unlearning a lot.
I mean, that's a lot. You know, it's like a yarn ball. You know, there's a lot to undo. I was saying, like, we don't realize some traumas were even traumas until we're like, oh, wait, ow, that hurts still. Or, you know, a situation comes up and you realize you haven't fully healed, or, you know, you're triggered by something. But that takes, you know, a lot of times that takes accountability, because how I respond to you that's more me than you. So something you did triggered me to make me feel or choose to respond this way, because we ultimately have a choice, you know, but we have impulsive, you know, anger is a secondary emotion. Anger is like, oh, this hurts, defense mechanism, you know, so.
For sure. We all got them. We all got our own. We all got our little arsenal of defense mechanisms and stuff like that, or had. But, thank you. This is kind of dope. Like, I kind of got, because to me it's fascinating. So when you come in here and you start talking about these topics and you start giving breakdowns about what they are, it helps me understand them. And it's like a way for me to, like I said, I do a lot of, you know, self analysis or whatever. So I'm like, yo, okay, that, you know, it's good to, because I said when you're young, you don't know what the fuck. So you don't know what that's called when you're fucking having anxiety, or you don't know why you feel a certain way. And you're probably depressed and shit like that. You just, whatever the case might be. So now, we deal with shit however we can as a child, and sometimes it ain't the correct way. As you get older, and hopefully you're blessed enough to live until you're older, and you get a chance to have years of life experience, I feel like that's also very helpful. If you're willing and open-minded enough to accept, like, to change and to be to change your behaviors and to try to understand why things are the way they are, you start to see things differently.
Yes.
So I appreciate that. Thank you. Obviously, they can't find you. You could only, as a matter of fact, it's kind of cool because you could only find her on the No Invite podcast right now. So if y'all are looking for Britt, here she is. So just keep checking in every week. I'm going to go ahead and run everything. I haven't been plugging it enough, and I should, because it's been doing really well for me, and I feel like I need to lean into it more. But you guys, everybody that listening out there, if you want to check out the clothing line, that's RiBirth Clothing Co., RiBirth Clothing Co. on Instagram. You might find an out-of-pocket shirt in there somewhere, but it's okay. It may not be for you, but it might be for somebody out there. It's for a demographic, you know what I mean? We're not, But check us out, buy some merch, show us that you really love me. Show me you love me for reals, sock it to my bank account. Hit the motherfucking Cash App if you really love me, you know what I'm saying? You could also go to Instagram and find us at no_invite_podcast. You could also go to @16th World if you have any questions, comments, or concerns, or just plain and simply have a complaint that you want to address to our main head producer / billionaire / philanthropist / I'm pretty sure a member of the Avengers. I'm not sure, I haven't got confirmed yet. But Patty P World, you can holler at her there. You could also go to the YouTube channel. That's RiBirth Media Films, RiBirth Media Films with a Z at the end. Check it out. We just dropped the vlog. Probably going to drop another one tonight. All the audio episodes are on there. That's where we get the most, or we want the most love. Love us there, because at least them streams pay something. With that being said, I'm me, you're you, and we're out.